Hey everybody, I see we already got some people that's joined us, and we only got an hour, and I want to talk a lot. So I want to bring my guests on. Tonight is Beyond Crime Scenes and Autopsies. Of course, y'all know I'm going to be busy tonight because I've had a beer to relax because I've been working and doing conferences all day. So bear with me because I had to loosen up and make myself comfortable for this. So I want to bring in my good friend Antoinette, partner, my homegirl, everything. And I'm going to bring her on screen here and have her join us and talk a little bit about what she got going on. Antoinette, can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Okay, and we can hear you too. So,
Okay.
so I okay, I hope that was a good introduction, but I didn't want to get too far into it because technically you're supposed to be interviewing me. I didn't put any of that out there, so let's have girl talk, and Corey will be joining us soon and break that up.
Okay.
So, so let's jump right into it. If you could just simply introduce yourself, tell our audience a little bit about who you are and what you do before we get into the rest of the good stuff.
Okay. So, as you mentioned, my name's Antoinette. I am a forensic scientist in Philly. I've been working as a forensic scientist for 17 years. I started Association of Women in Forensic Science, a 501c3 nonprofit in 2010, along with Club Philly Forensics, which is a youth after-school forensic science program for boys and girls ages 12 to 18. Uh, in October, starting October 20th in Mount Airy, I have a workshop series which meets every Saturday. It's about 10 workshops called Beyond Crime Scenes and Autopsies. That's the theme for this year. The reason why I gave it that title is because I want students to learn about the other fields in forensics that they don't normally think of when they think of forensics. A lot of people don't think of the fields that they're going to learn when they attend a workshop. So how I met you is a few years ago at the Project STEAM event, which was coordinated by Charles Gregory, and we both were on a panel to talk about STEAM. So we all represented the different areas in STEAM. I was the science component and you were technology. And we reconnected during the summer. And I always wanted to add a cybersecurity and digital forensics workshop because even for myself, I don't know much about digital forensics. I know about the, recovery of it and how when people think that their information is deleted, it really isn't. And people like yourself and your colleague, Corey, who is going to be the instructor for the digital forensics class. So we added a digital forensics workshop to Beyond Crime Scenes and Autopsies, which is going to be taught by my biz consultant founders, Nina and Corey. And you do a lot. Like you do so much with your business.
But did you keep my graphic in the background?
I like the background. And that's what I love about you because you're always prepared. You are so smart and you're always multitasking. You have several businesses. And a lot of people out here, like including myself, when you think of technology, you just think of digital devices or fixing computers.
Right.
So I would like for you to talk about what your connection is with forensics when it comes to digital forensics and cybersecurity. I know that Corey is teaching a digital forensics class, but he also has a background in cybersecurity. You have a background in data science and all this other cool stuff because you're just so smart.
I try to be.
You are. And I think it's really important for me to bridge that gap between forensics and technology. And that's why your workshop, I believe, is going to be December 15th. And it's going to be held in Mount Airy. But for anybody who's watching now or watching later, when you go on a registration link, you will see all of the information for your class.
And could you say that link? I'm going to go ahead and put it on underneath us here.
It's awifs.org /programs-workshops/.
Programs. Go back. See, you're too fast for me here.
But you know what? If they go to the Women in Forensics Facebook page, or if they go to Forenzik Chik, they can see publicly that I have the link posted.
Okay, so it's
just such a long tag.
Well, it's okay. We'll just put the
AWIF as in Frank, S as in Sam.org. Yep.
Yeah, there we go.
So if they go there,
technology's happening.
I know. You fast. I know. So if anyone who's watching live, or if you're watching this on demand, you will see that if you click on the link, you will get to register for Beyond Crime Season Autopsies. It begins October 20th, 10 workshops. We are continuing to add workshops. So if we add workshops, once you pay, they will be bonus workshops. You won't get charged an additional fee for those workshops. And you can either pay in full or do the payment plan, because I like for people to be able to afford it and for everyone to be able to participate. But the reason I had the prices the way that it is because we have to purchase all of the supplies that we need, and it costs.
And let's talk a little bit about that. I think one of the things that when we say workshops, a lot of us go to workshops. So I wanted to kind of dig a little deeper into when we say workshops, as people in forensic, we're talking more or less hands-on, really getting the opportunity to put your hands on it. And I mean, when I met this young lady, my daughter left me and I'm like, well, where did she go? She's at her table. Like, yeah, Mom, I'm over here I'm getting your fingerprints and I'm testing stuff over here. I'm like, what?
Yes.
So, just keep in mind that, what you're paying for, you're paying to actually do her job, to see what she is. Well, you actually get to see hands-on. And I think that's a huge part of having a forensics workshop where, we are investing in having people, get to the mix and blends. And Corey's joining me here. And I don't know if y'all can see him yet. I'm going to move it. I'm going to slide over and slide him in a second. Yeah. But there you go. Big head.
Yeah, I just popped in. Yeah. How's everybody doing?
What's going on?
He wanted to sit next to me on my camera. No? But
I'm on here.
Yeah, I know, right? But that's one of the things. So just everyone keep in mind that one of the big things that we're doing is we're doing hands-on workshops where you'll actually get to experience the forensic side, like really getting to do it. So that's something you want to keep in mind, especially for your children. They don't know what they want to do. A lot of kids here, forensics, all they know is science. That's it. The science. Oh yeah, I want to do that, or I don't want to do that, or why would I want to do that? But we get to actually show them that side of it. Now, as far as the technical end, what do we do? I don't know what we do. I do everything. That's enough.
And these workshops are for boys and girls ages 12 to 18. Because there are people that ask me if it's just for girls, because they assume that the workshops are only for girls only because it's women in forensics. But this workshop is open up for boys and girls. And I'm glad that you mentioned that everything we do is hands-on. We try to make a lot of the activities more tangible and talk as we can.
So we explain, but absolutely hands-on, where you'll get to experience and see what we're talking about. I think that's the fun part. You go into a workshop and you hear someone say something. One of the biggest things I have an issue with is doing workshops, and people come in and spend their money with me and they walk away with nothing. Like, oh yeah, she said this. I don't know if I took good notes. I'm not really sure what that meant. And you got to go home and Google everything I said. So what I try to do is show you exactly what I'm talking about. On my end, I'm more in the digital side. So I do SEO and all the analytics and the numbers, the data science. So that's the part of it's all science. And of course we hear science and we think of it as one thing. But, I don't deal with any chemicals you don't want me to. Trust me, I would probably end the world. But I do the numbers, I do the analytics of things, and I'll be able to show you guys how I do that and what I use them for. Now, there's a better part to, like, I'm cool with what I do, but I think what's more exciting is the part that Corey does. And I'm going to slide my big heat out the way and let him come in a second, so he can tell you a little bit more about the part of forensics that he specializes in, and which is still digital forensics, but he's going to jump in and let me slide. Which way I slide my head to make it like I'm going out the screen?
I got you.
All right. So
I'm going to slide over this way. Okay, here we go. Am I here?
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, we can actually just move this over.
Okay, that's much better. That's much better. Okay, so with forensics in general, you know, one of the things that I think about is when I hear the word forensics or forensic science, I think about like a person in a lab coat, you know, in some kind of room with all of these gadgets and devices, you know, with no windows, that's doing investigations about crime and about law and, you know, doing something crazy. And with digital forensics, I mean, it's pretty much just that, except that we don't deal with everything else outside of the crime scene. So if somebody hires a digital forensic investigator, they're going to be looking at certain things. So somebody like Jamila, who deals with the data, she deals with hard data, input, stuff that you would put in, you know, into a computer as a human being that you would type in on a website or social media, a post or something like that. But where I come in is it gets a little bit more deeper and more technical. And that's when you start looking at metadata, and that's data about data. So whenever you create a file or, you know, anything, whenever you do anything online, you create a file or you make a post or you do something, there's data about the data that you post. So you create a file, there's a creation date. There's geotagging that says where you created the file. It's when you take a picture, when you do your Snapchat. So there's all these little things that happen whenever we do anything online or with our mobile devices or our laptops or our computers, and that portion of it is what I specialize in.
Y'all sound smart. Y'all sound so smart.
Smart people. Okay, so how did you get trained to do digital forensics? How
were you trained?
Oh, so my first taste in digital forensics.
Breaking stuff. No, go ahead. I'm gonna get out the picture here.
Well, when people get into digital forensics, it happens one or two ways. Either you today in more modern times, I would say that you're able to be trained in it. You can find a program at a college or a university where you can get trained and you can learn just that. But people from a little bit more old school branch of digital forensics kind of fell into it. And I'm a part of, you know, those people, the people that fell into it. So you're at a company and, you know, something happens, some incident happens where, you know, there's some kind of laws that needed to be followed or some information that needed to be found. And they need somebody who has technical expertise as well as expertise with the law who can go in and find the things that they need to know so that they're either in compliance or they can find out what's going on. Or what was that?
That was me. Sorry.
Okay.
Stuff.
Or they can find out, you know, what was going on and, you know, find out who did it, what happened, and, you know, any information that they can. And, you know, that's how I came into it. I got further training through the Air Force when I got trained in cybersecurity. A big part of cybersecurity is digital forensics. And you learn a little bit more about the legal aspect of it, you know, things like chain of custody, preservation of evidence, and, you know, more things that would focus on presenting things in a courtroom, a court of law, as opposed to reporting back to a company, you know, on a particular incident.
So how often do you testify?
You breaking up just a little bit. Repeat that.
Do you have to testify as an expert witness often?
No, I wouldn't say often. As a private person working in the digital forensics field, a lot of times legal people, like company lawyers and things like that, will speak in court. You can present the evidence to the lawyers, and you know they'll handle that side of it. But I would say in more of the law enforcement end, those guys are testifying with digital forensics every day.
But I do want to jump in a little bit. Big head in.
You got it.
Good thing I got a big head. I can just fit. So just to touch a little bit more on that, I wanted to kind of talk a little bit about where that market is going, far as now there's investigators who are being hired to monitor social media. Now, those new investigators will be pulled to testify in court. This is something very new. As of maybe 3 or 4 months ago, that this has become like a thing, a position that's public that they're hiring for. Now, it's been undercover for many years, but now it's something public that they're able to say, hey, we're hiring for this. And if you were to look online and say social media investigator, you'll see a lot of companies are hiring for this position right now. And that's one of the things that those are the people that will be going to court, because what I find is a lot of the attorneys, we give them this information and they have no idea how to present it, what they're talking about, the lingo. So this is why they're hiring specialists in that field. So yeah, maybe I'll get a job.
Okay, so a social media investigator, what do you tell youth about their conduct, social media conduct, and what they share on social media, them oversharing, them possibly just doing too much
stuff? Hey, don't do anything that can get you in trouble. I mean, it's really just that simple. As we just get online and we want to share things, or we see something that may be interesting and we pull that phone out and we record it and post it online, the first thing to think about is, can this come back to haunt me? Of course, young people, we don't, I say we because I'm young right now, just for a minute. Young people don't think ahead and say, hey, can this come back and bite me in the butt? Can this come back and be an issue for me later? So it's really something to educate our youth about, to really tell young people, hey, before you pull out that phone, do you want to be involved in this case? This could possibly turn into a case. I know one of the rappers out there with the rainbow hair, I can't think of his name. He was caught videotaping a friend of his having intercourse with a young woman who they found out later who was underage. Huge blow up because he didn't have a record deal at the time. And now he has his record deal. And it's just, he's in interview after interview explaining himself, but he did go to prison for it, and it was simply, hey, posting something online with a huge following. So I advise all young people, before you post anything, I don't care what it is, or a repost or a reshare, be mindful. Think about it before you post it, because that also makes you involved. Because once, someone like myself get to tracking and looking at where that post came from, where it originated, and who shared it out, I'm pulling everybody. We're pulling all kinds of usernames, IP addresses, and all the good stuff. We're pulling it and turning it all in. So that does not make you exempt just because you did a reshare.
Right. Wow.
I just want to add. I want to add on and piggyback to what she's saying. It is very important to understand what the legalities are about the things that you do. But as a young person, you're not really always thinking about the law. So, when I was trained in this, and I was trained in using the internet and using social media and how things would appear, one of the things that was harped on quite often was your moral compass. So when you are posting something, or you're writing something online, or you're typing something on your computer, or you're saying something to somebody, would you be able to have that on the front page of a newspaper? That's what you have to think about. Would you, if whatever you're typing, whatever you're writing, whatever you're saying to someone, would you want that to appear with your name, in bold print on the front page of a newspaper? And that's what we have to think about, because when you're sitting here and you're using this technology and you're using these things, it's just as public as any newspaper would be.
That's a good point. That applies to adults as well.
Right.
So, I know you just mentioned that you went the old school route with you getting into cybersecurity, and you mentioned the military. For kids who are coming out of school now, even for adults who want to change their career, what would you recommend that they do? Should they look more into going to a 4-year college, or what are your thoughts about them taking a route through the, did you mention the Air Force or the Army?
That's an interesting question, because we live in the age of information, and there's so many different routes that you could take to get to the same conclusion. So what I would say is, if you can find a good cybersecurity program that fits in your life and works for you, at a college or a university, I would say definitely go for that. Because not only will you learn, the aspects of that career, you'll learn the ins and outs of cybersecurity, information technology, networking and infrastructure. You will learn the legalities behind it, but you'll also get that collegiate experience, which can't really be replaced by anything else. You get to learn how to interact with, people and, some problem solving, how to live with other people. There's a lot of social lessons that come along with going to a college or a university that you can't necessarily get from, taking a online course, in your bedroom. So I would say if you can do that, and if that's a good route for you, definitely consider that first. Now, if you can't do that, there are other routes that you can take. There's online courses for things. There are free courses. There are paid courses. There are training programs that are available that come along that are for different demographics of people. Like some are for women, some are for minorities, and some are for people in certain neighborhoods and certain financial situations. So if you can't go that university route, I would say that don't give up, and there's definitely other options that you can take to get into this field.
Now, how often do you come across other black men who are in your field?
Good question.
Because that's the elephant in the room when it comes to them, that there is a lack of minorities in the field.
Well, to be completely honest, not very often. Not very often. And then there's a lot to be said about that. I don't know if we could do a whole nother show about that.
We can.
There's a lot to be said about that, but being a black male myself, I can say that there are a lot of disparities in the education system and our social system that kind of create boundaries that we may not necessarily be able to see a way around. Getting into this field and getting the amount of education that you need and the amount of experience that you need, you have to be able to not only become book smart, you have to also know people, and you have to and you also have to gain a lot of experience that you can't just it's not going to fall out of the sky. You know what I mean? So there's a lot to it that's a social aspect, and is not as much of an educational aspect, if that makes any sense. I don't know if I'm making sense.
Oh no, you sound great. Yes, it makes a lot of sense. So for cybersecurity, when people think of cybersecurity and digital forensics, they normally don't know how you apply it to something that happens in real life. Like, can you give an example of when you will be called in to handle a case or work on a case? Like, I know in forensics, we refer to our cases as casework. For me, my background was in drug analysis. So if there was somebody who had drugs that were confiscated from them, or, something happened where there was other search and seizures, we would receive the drugs and we would go to work. Whatever we had to do is different types of evidence. So what would that look like for you?
Okay. The example that I like to use is an old school case that I got to actually witness. I wasn't a part of the investigation on this case, but it was an introductory kind of experience to digital forensics for me. So basically, I was at a university, and this university in particular, their technology administrators received an email from a government agency that basically said that somebody, in this location was breaking the law, and they were using this IP address. So this university, in turn, had to hire some digital forensic investigators to come in and kind of find out what was going on. So they ended up hiring people to come in and kind of check out things and kind of like look at machines and, look at, network traffic and look at packets and data that was being sent to find out what exactly was going on. So what basically turned out to happen was that there was a lot of illegal downloads going on. So, a lot of our young folk, we don't know that you got to pay for stuff. You can't illegally download things. You can't torrent
pirating.
Things. That's actually illegal. So in this particular university, the students, they were some smart guys. They basically created a network where they were pirating music and movies, and they were putting it on their hard drives on their computers, and they were creating a peer-to-peer network. A peer-to-peer network is a network that's amongst individuals in a room. So if you have a computer and I have a computer and Jamila has a computer, and we all have a great movie on there. What's that movie that you starred in?
Heroin.
Heroin. So
Yes.
we have a great movie. We have a great movie on our hard drive. Heroin. Check it out. Check it out. We have a great movie on our hard drive. We all have it. It's called Heroin. And, you know, we want to share that with everyone else that's in a certain location, like a university. So our computers would all have this, you know, data on our hard drives, and we would share it out over a network to other individuals who can simultaneously download from our 3 computers in order to get it onto their computer. And then they'll have it on their computer, and then another student can, you know, download this same movie and then have it on their computer, and, you know, so forth and so on. And what a digital forensics presents to find out is what's going on, how it's happening, who's doing it, and what exactly is going on there. What ended up happening ultimately is the students who were found responsible for it were fined hundreds of thousands of dollars. If they couldn't pay this money, they had to face jail time, because they take pirating very seriously. It's just like stealing. It's no different than, you know, shoplifting or even like sticking somebody up. When you're still in this digital media, which is you know, movies, music, pictures, or whatever, it's just as bad as, you know, taking somebody's wallet or, you know, their credit card. Yeah.
Wow, that's okay. So a lot of people that's watching, listen to that. Movies, illegally downloading movies and music and stuff like that. So okay, that's a really good example.
Okay, everybody, wipe your hard drive. Go ahead. I'll give you a few minutes to get that
done. Oh man. So your workshop, your digital forensics workshop for Beyond Crime Scenes and Autopsies, what should students expect to get out of that workshop? Is it going to be a lot of hands-on stuff, lecture? I mean, I know it's digital forensics, so what they expect to get out of that digital forensics workshop? I know you explained a lot already.
Okay, well, I did plan to do kind of like really log into the system and show them some of the tools that we use on the back end to actually pull the analytics, the way that some of the artificial intelligence, which plays a huge role in what we do and how we do it and how we make it look like we're reading your mind, and some of the things I think we talk about when we're doing SEO. So I plan on kind of bringing some of that stuff to the forefront, showing how it's done, where they can find some of the free tools to do some of the things themselves. So that's one of the things I plan to do from my few seconds that I have. But I don't know if they'll be interested in that, because it's not as cool as what he's going to do.
But, I don't know. I don't know if the hardware aspect is as interesting as the social aspect. So you know, so there's 2 sides to the coin when it comes to digital forensics. There's this whole part that's, you know, that's data, and it's psychology, and it's like, you know, how people think and what they do, and, you know, what their behaviors are, and, you know, predictions and things of that nature. Right. And then there's the hard data that you have to dig into a computer to get, which basically boils down to binary, a bunch of zeros and ones. Where, who, what, when, why, how. And that's all. So that's more of my side of the coin. So Jamila, she does a lot of, I think what she does is pretty sexy. Like, I like it. I think it's like some cool stuff to think about, you know, the psychological aspect of it. And then I do the nerdy component of it, which is more, you know, code and binary and, you know, geotagging and latitude and longitude. Like, who cares about that? You know what I mean? I want to know how, you know, a teenager thinks about, you know, their boyfriend when he did something wrong to him, and, you know, all the crazy drama stuff, like, you know, the 13 reason why type stuff. Like, yeah, she gets into that, you know, and I can find out the 13 reasons that happened already on her computer.
Okay. You were trying to explain to me binary code this summer, and I was like, woo!
The more you're exposed to it, you know, the more it makes sense. It's one of those things where you got to kind of learn a bunch of different sides of the situation, and then one day it just clicks. It's not something that you can kind of just, you know, tell somebody in one sitting and then they just say, you know what, I totally get it. I think the key to it is being able to relate it to something in your life that's relevant to you, that you're familiar with, you know. And, you know, if we sit down and do that, I can guarantee you'll be the best at binary out of anybody in your shop. I guarantee you.
So what I also find impressive about y'all is that you own your own business. You don't work for anyone. Y'all are self-employed. Y'all own My Biz Consulting. So tell me what it's like, and how did you make that transition from graduating college working full-time to owning your own tech firm?
Woo. That's a gangster question.
Okay, here we go.
I'll let her go first on that
one.
Definitely.
I started my business consulting more or less 10, 11 years ago, actually, more or less as a consulting firm where technology was like a very minimum amount. Like I went to college for management information systems and for psychology. Of course, taking a double major in psychology and management information systems never made sense back in early 90s because the two didn't go together. Fast forward, guess what? It plays it goes hand in hand. So I felt like now was the time to implement this as a business. I'm gonna fast forward really fast now. I started working in a company. I met Corey, and you know, he just had a lot of skills that, you know, at the company we worked for, he wasn't able to utilize those skills. Me coming from a place where I've already worked for myself, I've already held a lot of executive positions. I felt like, you know, he was what I needed to actually successfully jump off the bridge and have somebody actually catch me without falling. So partnering up to do what we did. I mean, he was what can I say? I need a cool ass metaphor. So no, these are I can just kind of line up and say, just for what I'm trying to say. He's the other side of my coin. So you know,
I was the yin to your yang.
There you go.
Something fly like that. Is that what you're saying? Okay, I got you.
So you know, it definitely it worked out because he was, you know, I had my strengths. He has his strengths. Putting them together, it complements my weaknesses. So we were able to actually complete a whole. You know, coming together, we were able to say, okay, I can do this, you can do that. Put them together, it's complete. Everything can be done. That made us, you know, I'm going to just go ahead and say it, quit our jobs. And you know, and that was another.
I didn't quit. I respectfully resigned. I respectfully resigned.
Not me. I went hard. I went out like a G. No. But we worked together for about 4.5, 5 years, and in our IT department, where, you know, I was a supervisor, he was a lead tech, and you know, we actually had the opportunity to work together as we do now, and really do what we enjoy, what we do every day now, which was awesome. So that was the interview process. Of course, you know, we were able to see, you know, how we fit together, and it was awesome. It was a great experience. You know, we were always walking around high-fiving. You know, I don't think people knew we were a couple because we were like, yo, can you do this? You know, it was like the best work relationship. He was my work husband.
At work, it was all work, no play. Like we definitely did work at work, and we did work to the best of our abilities. We didn't really get into, you know, what everybody would expect one to get into from a couple, you know, at work. We just basically did the job, and we did hashtag Black girl magic, and we did Black dude magic too. It was all mixed together, and it was great. And they couldn't figure out what was going on. We were that good, like seriously.
Right, and we enjoy what we do. So it, you know, although we didn't want to stay with that organization, we left the organization and we continued to do what we do by supporting other organizations who needed some of the same things that we offered. The cool part is we get to, you know, work with companies. Rather, we're saving something that they're, you know, we're saving them from a disaster. You know, 9 times out of 10, when they call us, it's bad. You know, it's not bad to us. We walk in with coffee, we stroll in kind of calm and cool. And that's what we look forward to remaining that way. Unfortunately, we don't get to do that at all times. But, you know, being in the IT field, you know, the support, we are support. People don't understand when you do IT, you do customer support. It's everything. It's all that we do. And, you know, being a couple in this field, automatically, you know, people are like, how does that work? And we're like, look, trust me, it works. And we're nerds. So it's not your average relationship where we're looking. I mean, honestly, how much can I do in my phone with somebody that can definitely get into it? So, you know, how many outrageous texts are going out? You know, so And what can he do when I actually know this is what I specialize in? You think I can't crack codes?
Right.
So
where can I drive and she can't find out where my car is?
I can tell you where the car is parked. He like, what did you do to my car? And I'm like, I programmed.
She's gonna hack my car. Her phone connects to my car. It tells her where I parked there. It's like, he is now parked on 13th and Market. I'm like why? How do you know that I'm downtown? Like, I don't even understand. Like, leave me alone. Like, I'm gonna take the bus. Like, you keep the car. I'm gonna take the bus.
Yeah, which is why people need to realize the car alarm systems is
Right.
technology based. It's all programmed where you can track.
And that's almost every
car.
I mean,
refrigerator.
I mean, we live in the age of information, and everything. It's fortunate and it's unfortunate. It's fortunate because in the age of information, it flattens the world. I mean, you could communicate with somebody from here to the other side of the globe, literally. We could talk to somebody in New Zealand in real time about anything that we want to talk about. But the other side of that coin is, everything is logged, everything is watched. You're in a fishbowl, and this is not something that's, a conspiracy theory or some type of thing to make you paranoid or something to scare you. It's just the reality.
Yeah.
We've had things since President Bush. The Patriot Act. The Patriot Act says that all your text messages, all your phone calls, everything can be logged and used for whatever reason, so that we can keep Americans safe. I mean, it's all there. It's nothing you can do about it. It's an inevitability that we all have to accept. You think you're being slick by putting your girlfriend's profile on your Lyft account, and trust me, they know the truth. They know who's riding from where, to where, and when, and who's doing what. It's all known and it's all tracked. So it's a reality that we're going to have to accept and slowly come to live with. I did want to mention though. Okay, so Jamila talked about how she kind of led up to the independent business situation, and also I want to just throw in a couple of things about my path and my way that I kind of got here.
I was gonna come in here, so yes.
Right. I just want to throw in, and this is for. I'm not looking at the camera. Yeah, this is for the other black man that's out there that's sitting here trying to figure out what to do, trying to make his way, trying to make a path, trying to do whatever you got to do. It ain't no excuse. You can do it. Mm-hmm. So I just want to say, I started out, and I'm not gonna lie. I said, you know what? This is what I'm gonna do. I came from a poor family. My mom, she was a single parent. My pops pieced out when I was like 5 years old, so we came up kind of rough. And I got sent to a boarding school, and I said, the number one thing that I got to do is I got to get this education. I'm gonna get this education. I'm gonna make us some money, and I'm gonna make sure that my family is not in this situation that I'm in, in the future. So what I decided to do, I said, I'm gonna go to business school. I'm gonna be a businessman. I'm gonna go to a business school. I'm gonna work at this Fortune 500 company. I'm gonna do business. I majored in business administration. So I got to business school, and I said, business administration. So when do you teach me how to start my own company? And they said, no. Business administration is not that. Business administration just basically teach you how to work at a company. Mm-hmm. And I was like, wait, time out. So you're not gonna tell me how I can run my own business while I'm majoring in business administration? Like, this is preposterous. Like, so like what can I do here? So the university that I was at kind of used me as a pilot for a couple different programs of entrepreneurship. A bunch of schools didn't have entrepreneurship back then. That wasn't like a really big thing. And even now, it's not really a popular major that's available all across the board at a bunch of different universities. So that's what I set out to do initially. And I said, I'm going to do this business administration thing. I'm going to get me a job. I'm going to work in these companies. I'm going to try to find I don't like this. I like computers. So, on the side, I was working with people. I was, fixing their computers, doing data recovery, repairing hard drives, working on networks. I was, fixing things for different schools, little charter schools, little private organizations and things like that. And I had, not only did I have kind of a natural affinity to those things, I actually enjoyed doing it. So I was like, how can I figure out how to get into this field and, proceed forward in that way? And I ended up finding a program that allowed me to get, my CompTIA A+ certification. It's an entry-level certification that allows you, to get a job as somebody who troubleshoots hardware and computers or things of that nature. It's something like the equivalent to 10,000 hours, repairing computers and working on the help desk. So I ended up doing that, and I started working in, a couple of companies, a couple of different organizations. I interned in, a real estate company, another Fortune 500. Then I got into a huge nonprofit, and pretty much nothing worked there. Like it was terrible. It was terrible. It was completely unorganized. It was a chaotic disaster and a nightmare. Nothing worked there. But what I can say about that is it wasn't a negative experience, because that terrible, ridiculous technological nightmare allowed me to learn so many different things about technology, and it allowed me to learn the right ways to do things, because everything was being done wrong. So I'm not knocking that organization, or I'm not saying anything bad about them. I'm definitely thanking them, because they allowed me to push my career and my skill set to the next level, because there were things that I had to figure out that somebody that with my level of training would never had known how to do. I had to learn how to do it on my own. I had to find different classes, different trainings, different certifications, different rules. I had to start learning laws. I had to learn all kinds of things so that, this organization could get into compliance and compete with other organizations in their arena. And then from there, I ended up meeting Jamila, and I was like, hey, look, this is what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to do this thing. Like, I'm not trying to work at nobody's company. They're doing it wrong. I can do it right. I'm really good. Like, I'm so good at this stuff. Like, I don't even understand. Let me show you how good I am. I showed her. I was like, look, skills. I got the skills to pay the bills. And she was like, you know what? You're right. Get married. It was hashtag skills. I just showed her. I was like, look, this is what I can do. Like, all of these people here that's in charge of me, they're like 4, 5, 6, 10, 30 levels above me. They don't know what they're doing. This is how it needs to be done. Let me show you. And I continuously proved it over and over again. Problems that people couldn't solve, I would step in and say, let me take a look. You know what I mean? Let me give it a fresh eye. And I would just go right in and just, knock it out. And, from there, we decided that, maybe it's not, the best option to do this for somebody else. Maybe we could do this for more people if we did it for ourselves. Mm-hmm. And then we started going that route of doing our own company.
Awesome. Yeah, so that's I
guess we can throw another way in, just another option. I didn't learn how to do technology that same way. Another way people can learn to really get that experience is to get a job in the field. I'm not saying go apply for jobs that you can't do. Well, yes, I am. Go get a job where they're looking to train you, because a lot of companies. I went to work. I mean, I actually had a lot of experience, but I went to work at Comcast, for instance, and the training was amazing. Comcast has what you call the Comcast. They're my partners, so shout out to Comcast because they did partner with me, and they actually have what you call Comcast University, where you learn an abundance of technology as far as networking and programming and web design. You learn all these different things and IT support. You learn these things within 5 weeks of training. And then you're thrown right in. So you get, experience on their equipment and programming their equipment and things like that. So that's another avenue that people can take to get into that IT arena. It's not hard. It's easier when you're getting paid for it and you're getting trained, that paid training, especially if you're a little older and, you say, okay, I can't go back to school, or your situation is, you got a situation where you can't go back to school. You can't really afford to go to training. You can't get into any of those programs that was mentioned earlier, but you can definitely apply for a job like Comcast. Start out in customer service and get the training, accept all the training. If you're working at a company now, find out if they will train or if they pay for training, because a lot of companies actually do. And I think a lot of us, we get into our jobs and we kind of stay where we are and we dangle and just be there and be happy with that. But there is a lot of companies that will pay for your training, for your what they call development training, and it's worth it.
Yeah, I'm glad that you mentioned that, because when we talk about teenagers, we're talking about getting them prepared to go to college and to get a job after college. And all they're doing right now, well, I wouldn't say all, but a lot of teens, but the only thing they have to worry about now is going to school, and a lot of them may live at home. So depending on their circumstances, they don't have any children, but then you have some teenagers that do have children. But when you talk about adults, there are some adults who, like myself, we already have a full-time job. And if they want to go back to school or look into doing something different, they may not be able to get into some of those technology programs if they have to pay for training, or if the hours will interfere with their work hours. So I'm glad that you mentioned that, because I noticed that there are a lot of other companies, tech companies, even like social media companies, that are offering a lot of training for people to learn how to, manage social, just all sorts of jobs and
accounts. You got SMO, you got SEO, and a lot of the companies are providing training. And I'm going to tell you that it's not something that you're going to learn overnight. You actually learn how to, actually operate and maneuver in this field by doing it. So it's you get the foundation. Once you have the foundation, you actually you find something that you like and you run with it, because there's no way you're going to take it all in. I'm still constantly, every single day, I'm learning how to do something else. Affiliate marketing, that's a whole entire realm that people can get into and start making money. Automated money, where you can sit at home, you come to set it, forget it, and I get a lot of calls about that, because people are like, how do I do affiliate marketing? Because they'll hear just a tad bit about it, but not, no idea how to actually get into it and to make money off of it. So that's one of the things that, find your niche market and jump into it and learn it. The more you can, learn about that, and the information is out there. Like Corey mentioned, everything is online. Everything is online. And if you do not know that it's online, reach out to me, and I'll tell you where it is. It's online. Literally everything. I hate to say it, but everything is online. A lot of information is hidden online, but it's online. Trust me.
Wow. So it just seems, and I know for a fact, that technology is a very stable and lucrative field. So if you go into technology, it seems as if you're always, you're going to have a job.
You're going to always be needed, whether you're working at for a company or you're working for yourself. Even freelancers make a lot of money in this field, because someone always needs you. It's about, what we sell is trust. Mm-hmm. Does that person, do that person over there trust you enough for you to get on their computer? Will they pass their phone to you? Will they give you the passcode? That's key. Selling trust and reliability. Or is this someone that I can rely on to take care of this situation for me? And that's what we sell. Once you can sell that, you're going to always make money in this field. You want to jump in?
Yeah. Just to add to that, trust is important, definitely. But technology is always going to be a lucrative field, because we are in the age of technology, where technology is not going anywhere. Everything's becoming more and more technological. And, that's just the route that things are taking. So you look at simple jobs like, in a fast food restaurant, there are robots being built, that can make burgers. There are touch screens where people can, make their own orders. You know what I mean? You go in Walmart, you can check out and pay for your own stuff, at a machine. So you don't need people as much. And if you're into technology, there's always going to have to be someone that's going to fix those robots. That's going to have to, repair that and, tell those robots what to do. The robots aren't going away. The technology is not going away. But what has to happen is people have to kind of adapt and kind of understand that this is the route that everything's going. You can't resist it. It's just happening. It's the future. Technology grows, exponentially instead of linearly. Something grows linearly. It grows, at a regular, curve, a 90-degree angle. When something grows exponentially, it starts to curve up. You know what I mean? So you have to kind of get into it and realize, and be an early adapter and understand that, this is the way that things are going. I'm going to jump in and I'm going to, stand in front of it, as opposed to resisting it. You got a lot of people in both generations that are kind of resisting the technology. You have people like my mom and, their parents that are like, hey, like, I don't want to put my credit card, online, and I want to do this and I don't want to do that. And even Jamila's dad, he's like, I'm not putting my credit card online. I don't want no online account. And I'm like,
hacking.
I'm going to do everything, and I'm going to, keep it here, and I'm going to just write this check. And I'm like, well, sir, look, everything is online. Like, even that check that you're writing is coming from an online account. Is your money? There's no bag in the bank that says. Can I see you? Oh, okay. There's no bag in the bank that says Mr. Thomas's money. When he deposited his money in the bank, it became a bunch of zeros and ones, and his account became online. So anybody that gets any of his money from any of those checks that he wrote, it's coming from an online account, and it's going to an online account. So everything is digital. There's nobody. We're not in the age anymore where you walk around with a bag of coins like a pirate.
Well, yeah,
and you pay 2 shillings.
It's crypto. It's all numbers now.
What are your thoughts about cryptocurrency, digital currency?
Cryptocurrency and digital currency?
Do you think that people should start taking it and being involved or investing in digital currency because of how?
I'm going to say yes. Cryptocurrency is it's new. It's a baby. But anything that anybody has ever gotten rich off of or made lucrative or built from scratch into something amazing came from something that was new and nobody was interested in initially. You know what I mean? When Facebook was incepted, it was a new idea, like social media, social networking. That was all a new idea. Cryptocurrency is coming out, and that's all a new idea, and it's going to be something that definitely catches on because we're becoming more and more of a global economy. So if you look at the different currencies that we use, we have the U.S. dollar, we have British pounds, we have the euro, we have all these different currencies. We have the yen, and we have all these different currencies that are across borders. But cryptocurrency is introducing this new idea that there could be one currency that everybody can exchange amongst each other, and it's the set value, and we can use it in place of these existing currencies that we currently have. So I would say yes, it's going to catch on because everything is becoming more and more global instead of yes, because our local currencies are more restrictive. They're based on borders. But with the advent of technology and the expansion of technology, the world is becoming more and more flat. I read a book in college, and I didn't understand it at the time. It was by Thomas Friedman. It was called The World is Flat. And he talked about the internet as one of the flatteners of the world. And he said, with the internet takes away any geographical boundary that you have between yourself and anybody else on anybody, in the planet. And I was like, the internet is a flattener of the world. Like that doesn't make any sense. And that this was back in late 90s, early 2000s. And now I'm like, whoa, like he was 100% right. I mean, this is darn near 20 years later. He's 100% right. And this guy, he had this idea way back when I still had a dial-up connection. I had America Online. And I couldn't cancel my account to save my life because they wouldn't let me. But and he said this internet thing is going to change the world. It's going to change the way we do business. It's going to change the way we accept currency. It's going to change the way we exchange goods and services. And I said, whatever, guy. I'm a freshman in college. I know everything. So I'm like, whatever, guy. And now I'm looking back 20 years later, and I'm like, you know what? This guy was 100% right. So what these cryptocurrencies are doing is kind of following along this whole technological thing, this whole digital thing, and piggybacking off of it. It's allowing us to exchange goods and services with people, no matter where they are, and we're accepting these currencies, as something that we exchange amongst ourselves, no matter what your local currency is. And that's why I think it's going to continue to grow. It's going to continue to catch on. The catch is going to be being able to pick the right one. Yeah. So it's that's going to be the catch. But with no risk, there's no reward. You got to make a risk. Yeah. It's a gamble either way. But if you do your research and you have confidence in the people that are backing these things, and you find out who's doing what and why they're doing it, I think you'll be able to get a better understanding of what to follow and what to invest in.
See, we need to do this more often.
I think we should, like just the educational channel. We're gonna take.
I mean, I learned so much. I know people that's watching this and that's going to watch it later. It took a lot from it too.
Right.
Right. And we've been talking for an hour. It didn't even seem like it's been an hour, have it?
I ain't had that much time. See, y'all don't know. Once you get behind this mic, it's on and popping.
Right.
That's probably going to do more. I think we should do this at least once a month.
Well, we can definitely do that. I mean, I'm on every Tuesday, so we can pick a Tuesday out of the month and really get on and talk business. The show is Respect the Hustle. Although we look at it as work or what our passions or what we love, it's also a hustle. It's all about, it's what the show is about. It's what we stand for. And, you know, I would love to have co-hosts who can talk me under the bus. I love it because I can chill out a little bit. And
I was told by some people that I talk too much, but I don't think I do.
No. I don't think you talk enough.
Yeah, right. I feel like you should talk about more. Like, you're out there, you're doing this dope job. Like, you know what I mean? Like, you watch all these TV shows about what you do, but you're like a real live person that actually does this, and I think it's amazing. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I was sitting there and I was explaining to Jamila. I was like, you know what a mass spectrometer is? And she was like, no. And I was like, and I was like, Antoinette, no. Antoinette know what a mass spectrometer is.
I was like, well, we need to get her.
I'm gonna call her so she can be excited about this with me, because this is amazing. Like, this thing can tell you what anything is, what any element, anything is. Let's call her so she can be excited, and then we're gonna talk about the mass spectrometer.
Yeah, I appreciate y'all. Together.
Definitely appreciate you, and
appreciate y'all for Corey. That I was able to get y'all something to talk about the forensic workshop. So again, I'm just going to repeat that the Beyond Crime Season Autopsies, it begins Saturday, October 20th. You can register at the link. And Corey and Jamila, they will be a partner with us, and you know, they are going to teach the digital forensics workshop, and you'll get to learn more about what they do in their field. So if you have any questions for me or them, you can just hit them up and send me a message, or send them a message on their Facebook. And I know you have your My Biz consultant information if they want to learn more, or if they want to use some of your services that y'all offer outside of digital forensics. Thank you.
No problem.
It's
a lot of services too. Like, thanks for the shout out. Definitely.
Yeah.
You definitely mentioned that we got a lot of things going on. So, you know.
But can I say real quick before we get off, because we have 2 minutes.
Yes.
Like, just mention the other services that you offer for anyone who is. I know you mentioned SEO and.
Let's talk quickly. We just added a new service that I think will be really beneficial to a lot of people, which is the smart home device support. You want to jump into that quickly?
Right. I'll just talk about some of it. So there, you know, when you're talking about smart home devices, there is a ton of things out here that people are getting into. Like I said, it's the age of technology. Everybody's using this technology to do everything with their smart home. So one of the major things that I'm sitting here pushing is, you know, video doorbells, cameras, and alarm systems. So, you know, these devices are probably like the wave of the future when it comes to home security, because you can sit here, you can install this thing, you can monitor people outside your door. You have people talking about, oh, my package was stolen, or somebody came on my property and did X, Y, and Z, or somebody broke into my car. And you have these devices that are very affordable, where you can sit and you can monitor what's happening. You can yell at the burglar or whoever's on your driveway or whatever's going on. Or if something does happen and you didn't happen to catch it, you have these smart home devices that did catch it, and then you have footage that you can send directly to law enforcement, and they can figure out what happened, you know, for you. So we're pushing a lot of those.
Okay, so not to cut you off, I'm sorry to cut you off. A smart home device, do you also need an alarm system, or is this just something separate and you can install it yourself?
No, so with the smart home devices, the alarm systems are built into these devices. So traditional alarm systems, you know, were based on, you know, POTS network. A POTS network is a plain old telephone system. That was, you know, the dial-up phone in your house, where somebody called you on the landline. I think that's what they say, is it the landline? Yeah. Somebody called you on the landline phone, and that's what your phone was, you know, that's what your alarm system was based on. It was based on the landline system. It would call 911 for you if necessary. And, you know, the alarm company monitored it from this type of medium. Now these smart home devices are all internet based. So most people don't even have a phone line in their house. These smart home devices, what they do is they make sure that you can have the same services, but it's all internet based. It's all IP traffic. I would say that it's about the same, but maybe even better, because IP traffic is a lot quicker. And, you know, you can do a lot more with it. So the alarm company can monitor it, the police can monitor it, and you can monitor it from your cell phone all at the same time, which you weren't able to do with a traditional system like, you know, Sloman Shield or ADT or something like that. You couldn't pull out your phone and, you know, figure out who was at your front door with one of those systems.
And it's not just for security. I mean, we not just doorbells, but refrigerators and
smart
stoves,
refrigerators,
thermostats,
so that you can save money on your energy bill. You know, your smart thermostat, determines when you're in the house, what time of year it is, what temperature makes you comfortable, what temperature you like it to be, and then automatically starts to adjust and learn what you like. And it also reduces your energy bill because you don't have the AC cranked, in the summertime, or the heat cranked in the wintertime. This smart device will determine, what does this person usually set these settings at? What time are they usually in the house? If they're not home, I'm going to turn myself off. If they're home, I'm going to, get it cooled off so that when they come in here, it's not, blazing hot or freezing cold. So, I mean, this is the wave of the future. These smart devices are not only like, something cool to have, but they also provide you with some kind of beneficial service that wasn't readily available before. It either saves you money, or provides you with some sense of security, or it does something extra that things weren't able to do previously. And when I mention these devices too, I want to talk about securing yourself and securing your network, because everything is becoming network. You hear the terms, IoT, the Internet of Things. So you got your alarm system, your video doorbells. You might have like a Roomba vacuum cleaner, or whatever, and it's all in your home network. But you don't have a secure home network. Your home network is wide open for anybody or any malicious person to come along, some hacker, some guy that thinks he's funny to sit here and, some guy that thinks they're funny to, come along and control your Roomba and chase your cat around the house or something like that. But you can solve that very easily by having, security for your network, some kind of firewall device. There's smart home firewall devices that are available to protect your home network. You know what I mean? So for every advancement in technology, there's also something to security and make it, more sensible and less unsafe and scary, so that people can get into these things.
And we'll save that for their cybersecurity interview that we'll have coming up soon.
I'm already thinking of what that next show will be. Yeah. Right there. Okay. So it looks like our time is up.
So we want to thank everybody for tuning in. And I already got it up there, as you see.
Yes. And I just want to tell y'all again, I really appreciate you doing this interview for me. And I'm so glad that we got a chance to set a date and work it in with our busy schedule. So, yeah.
We're excited. We're excited to be a part of the workshop and, and just partner with you. So it's awesome because, we do so much. A lot of times we don't get to the, really get to put a workshop together geared towards kids because we're always out worrying about what their parents are doing. Yes. So this definitely helps us redirect our, what we're doing. And, we want to thank you for pulling us in, slowing me down and saying, hey, Nina, you got to do this.
Corey going to join you.
Was this all Antoinette's idea? This was her idea?
Yes, I blame Antoinette.
Oh, see, Antoinette, you got me on my first,
I know.
So this is all your fault. I pushed you into doing, your promo on cam. So I guess
you did. You really did.
Okay, I got you.
Now, since this is the first one, we're going to do more.
Yeah.
I got you. Okay.
Y'all going to get tired of me, but
No, we're not. I'm going to have you as a full-time host.
Okay, I don't mind.
Remember, I own the network. We're good.
We're going to talk tomorrow.
Definitely.
All three of us, yeah. So
awesome. Well, we want to thank everybody that tuned in the Streets Radio. Respect the hustle. A little bit different tonight. It was definitely awesome. Antoinette, she came on. She did all the work. She really hosted this. I didn't tell y'all it was going down like that. So we want to thank you. You did an awesome job.
Y'all did too. Thank you. I was going, afterwards, I was going to call you like, great job, girl.
We can do it on air. Let everybody see it. So that's the fun part of being live. So just thank everybody for tuning in. Everybody that gets to watch this later. It will also be on Industries Radio. Also, it will be aired on our YouTube page, and for anybody to check it out. And everything that I have is industriesradio.com or .net. It doesn't matter. So either one works. And you can follow us and check us out, and hopefully see you next Tuesday for the next show. And I'll start promoing for that probably tomorrow. So,
and I forgot to add, if you want to follow me, you can also go to #Women in Forensic. So if you can't remember the site, awas.org. I'm on Twitter, Women in Forensic. Instagram Club Philly Forensics. But if you can't remember all of that, just go to hashtag Women in Forensics and you'll be able to connect with me on all of those platforms. And Corey's on Facebook too. Corey, well, y'all together with the My Biz Consulting, but
My Biz Consulting, yep. I'm on Facebook. Mm-hmm. I got on Instagram. It's at Small Business Network Exchange. Mm-hmm. It's also, what is the other? We got a bunch of them.
I'm on everything.
Yeah,
I'm on everything.
Yeah, just look us up.
Hashtag
you'll
My
go down
Biz
the rabbit hole.
Consulting,
My
and
Biz
you
Consulting.
will find us everywhere.
Right.
Or NBC 133.
With an S.
Twitter.
Forensics with an S. Yep.
Did I get it all in there? With an S on that?
That was my fault. I think I might have just said forensic instead of with an S with it. Yeah.
That's all right. They got you because now they ain't gonna let me clear it out.
Okay, it's cool.
But keep going.
Correct. Look. All right, the techie want to touch it. He's like, let me see if I can fix this. But so definitely we'll be back on Tuesday just to make sure that that we're here to continue the show. I know I've been off air for a little bit, but I'm back, and this is what we're going to be on every Tuesday, 9 p.m. We're still doing, Respect the Hustle. Rather, it's the hip hop. We will be actually doing some of the shows far as in the studio. So we will have some live guests and other stuff. So definitely stay tuned. And again, thank everybody that tuned in. Antoinette, you have a wonderful evening.
Mm-hmm. You too, Corey. Thank you. Thank you.
Definitely. You have a good night, Antoinette.
You too. All right. We'll talk soon.
Yes, we will talk tomorrow.
Yes.
All right. Good night.
Y'all did a great job. Thank you.
Thank you. You did the same. All right. Bye.